message until Sharice, you see. Someone holler back, measurable. Measurable movement. God wants you to see evidence that this is working. Right? Okay. So 1 Samuel chapter 17. So share it. Those who are watching, tag some people. Here we go. 1 Samuel 17, verse 48. 1 Samuel 17. Goliath started walking towards David again, and David ran quickly toward the Philistine battle line to fight him. He reached into his bag, took out a stone, which he slung at Goliath. It hit him on the forehead, broke his skull, and Goliath fell face downward on the ground. And so without a sword, David defeated and killed Goliath with a sling and a stone. Then ran over and stood over him, took Goliath's sword out of his sheath, and cut off his head and killed him. Okay. Look at your neighbor. Say, neighbor, this is the year you go get it. Okay. This is the year you go get it. Nobody gets permission to take a year off. To me, no biblical story outside the birth and resurrection of Jesus Christ is more important to the faith of God's people than the epic battle of David and Goliath. I stated last week, and I'll state again. Embedded in it are faith-based traits that are timeless. Courage, resilience on God, triumphing against that which seems to be greater than you. All of it is both inspirational, and it provides for us a wonderful portrait of the enormity of God and God's ability to do extraordinary things through people who are perceived to be inadequate, insignificant, and seemingly unprepared. Courage in the face of adversity, faith over fear, the underdog triumph, resourcefulness and strategy, leadership and confidence, and social justice or equity of opportunity is all embedded in this text. Our ancestors often used this text to instigating them the courage to face oppression. The ultimate genius of David and Goliath is that it inspires people to believe that with faith, courage, and determination, the most daunting of obstacles can be overcome. This is what I want you to get today. God did not give you the story of David and Goliath for you to enjoy it. God gave us this story for us to be inspired to live our own victorious battles over Goliath. Okay, let's try it again. God did not give us this biblical story for us to simply talk about it in sacred space. No, God wants you to look at the life, Pastor Greg Kennedy, of David and understand that David's victory over Goliath is for you a stepping stone to you taking ownership of the opportunities that God gives you that seems to be bigger than you, but actually designed to make you big. Okay, don't miss this. Don't miss this. This story is supposed to amp you up to want to go fight. This story is supposed to make you feel that there's nothing you've ever been through, Lonnie. That God can't seemingly use it to give you a leg up, a step forward, and an opportunity for greater. Here's why today we did everything we did. The MIT celebration, the master class, the building celebration. Here's why. Because in all of that, there's somebody that got celebrated today, somebody that got recognized today who just had a Goliath moment. Because for some of us, we never thought God could use somebody like us. And I need some of you to wake up today, because I understand you've been in church for a few minutes, but here's the thing you got to get. God is setting you up for something amazing this year, but you got to buy into this. You got to buy in to a mindset that says, I'm going to get it no matter what. Last week, I had a very deep moment because I'm considered a therapeutic preacher, which means that I use preaching in a manner that allows people to have pastoral counseling through the pulpit. And I walked away understanding something about us as black folk. Here's what I walked away with, Nate. I walked away understanding that the reason why so many of us struggle as a people is because we were put in situations where we were rewarded for being passive. Look at the plantation, and what you'll see on the plantation is that the slave that dared to confront the system was oftentimes humiliated and beaten and even killed in front of their fellow slaves. But here they are teaching you that the only way for them to love you or to regard you or even to let you live was that you had to be passive. But I came to declare that as black folk, we got to break the curse where we've been taught to be passive and understand that I am born to be great and I am supposed to be a warrior because God has created me for greatness. You are not on a plantation. Stop acting with a slave mentality. I thought it was intriguing that Sister Sabrina had the courage to identify her gender and declared that you're looking at a woman, but I needed to add something. You're looking at a black woman. Okay, St. Paul, we breaking some rules here because what I need you to do is stop being afraid to try. Failure is not a problem. The problem is not trying. We spend too much of our lives thinking that other folk ice is colder. People have often said to me, and y'all forgive me for being so bold, but there's certain people I can't sit under and listen to. Because if you don't understand my struggle, you can't speak to my success. I'm always intrigued by us running to hear people who have no vested interest in our destiny. Here's the genius of this text for me. David models that which is the only way you win. It's called being proactive. Catherine stood up here, challenged us to give $25. She said, we're not going to wait, we're going to push you. It's time to be proactive, and that's what we see in this text. Listen at the language. Goliath started walking towards David. Again, David ran. Goliath walked. David ran. Goliath walked. David ran. God, I don't want y'all to miss this sermon. It's time for you to stop slow walking the purpose. Slap your neighbor, high five, and tell him, I need you to get a run in you this year. I need you to be so hungry for something. Until while they're asleep, you up at 3 a.m. exercising. I need you to get a Kobe mentality. Kobe mentality was the Mamba mentality, was that when we step on the court, we are not equal. Because at the end of the day, I've put in more hours than you have. I've worked harder than you worked. I've tried harder than you tried. I need black folk to wake up in here and make up your mind that in 25, I don't have time to babysit lazy and immature. If you ain't hungry, get away from my table. Here's the reality. You got to learn how to be proactive. Someone say proactive. Proactive means to take initiative, to act in anticipation of the possibilities and opportunities embedded in the moment. It's more than simply reacting to events as they happen. It involves discerning that God is up to something. I need you to tap yourself and tell yourself, God is up to something in my life. Until you say that with confidence, you'll never believe it in activity. Point to yourself, tell yourself, God's up to something. Come on, get real bold. Tell yourself, God's up to something. I'm just not waking up just to wake up. God is up to something. I'm just not here just to be here. God is up to something. I'm just not gifted to be gifted. God is up to something. My gift is about to open major doors, not only for me, but everybody that's connected to me. I need you to look down your row, holler at your row, and tell your row, you got to know who you sitting next to today. You're sitting next to somebody that knows that God is up to something. So excuse me if I get real bold, stupid, and courageous. I just believe that God is about to do some amazing things in my life. I'll see it until I get happy. I need you to wake up and get this. Proactive people are agents of change. They don't live in the noun, they live in the verb. They're not adjectives, they're verbs. And they're verbs that become nouns. They're defined as what they're doing, not just what they're being. Because ultimately the definition of being is associated to what I'm doing. If you watch me do long enough, you'll change how you call me. I need some of you to redefine your being by doing some stuff that makes folk reframe you based upon the redefinition of the activity that ultimately defines the genius of your being. You be amazing because you do incredible. I need you to tell your neighbor, I do incredible, so you better call me amazing, because I do it at a level other folk ain't trying to do it at. I'm tough, and I'm tenacious, and I'm hardcore, and I got a little gangster in me, but my gangster ain't gonna kill you, it's gonna give you life, because I ain't scared. I need some folk here that ain't scared to try, ain't scared to give it some effort, because when you do what God tells you to do, amazing things happen. Stephen Covey, the world-renowned author, educator, and speaker, once said, being proactive is more than taking initiative. It's recognizing that we are responsible for our own choices and have the freedom to choose based upon principles and values rather than on moods and conditions. Proactive people are agents of change, and they choose not to be victims. They choose not to be reactive, and they choose not to blame others. In essence, here's the good news, that proactive people don't live in the blame game. They're free from the blame game. They don't sit around talking about if my mama was better, if my daddy did more, if people liked me, if they helped me, if white folk were here for me, if my man had treated me better, if my uncle had done more for me. No, I need you to tell your neighbor, at some point you got to stop blaming other people, and you got to take ownership of your own life. You got to stop acting like everybody doing you wrong. We are tired of your pity party. We love you, but we ain't doing that this year. What we're doing this year is go get it. What we're doing this year is I believe that all things are possible. What we're doing this year. So the words of Paul make a lot of sense here. Philippians 3, do not claim that I've already succeeded or have already become perfect. I keep striving, 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 I keep striving to meet it. I keep striving, 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 I keep striving. You don't like me, but I keep striving. You ain't my friend, but I keep striving. You talk about me, but I keep striving. You walked away from me, but I keep striving. I keep striving because there's a price out there. There's a prize out there. There's something extraordinary. And so I do not forget that I've already won it. But the one thing I do is I forget what's behind me, and I do my best to reach for what's ahead of me. I run straight towards the prize because I believe that the call of God upon my life demands tenacity. Being proactive is a part of our faith. We serve a Christ who moved towards the cross, not was passively forced to do it. Luke 9:51 says, and as the time drew near when Jesus would be taken up to heaven, you ready, Elder Sierra? He made up his mind and set out to go to Jerusalem. The cross didn't come get him. He went and got the cross. So he could say crazy stuff like, no man takes my life, but I lay it down. And if I lay it down, I have the authority. I feel like preaching to pick it up again. I need 8 people to throw your head back and holler, I'm going to run to it this year. I'm running to it. So while you sleep being cute, I'm running to it. While you up here complaining, I'm running to it. You could be negative, nasty, and depressed, but I ain't got you this year, boo. If I got to run by myself, I'm running because I know what's in me. One can't claim to intimately know God and not be pulled towards something greater, bigger, challenging, and more purposeful. You can't claim to know God's sap and not be pulled. Not be frustrated to improve yourself. Verse 40, more than any verse models what it means. It says he took his shepherd's stick out, picked up 5 smooth stones from the stream, put them in his bag, and with his sling ready, he went to meet Goliath. Verse 40 is one of the most amazing verses in the Old Testament for me. Because, Alexia, the thing that I love about verse 40K is that David does the amazing. He picks the fight. Jada, David picked the fight. Okay, let's try it again. And with sling in his hand, he went to meet him. Tiffany, here's what the enemy's banking on. You too scared to fight. He figures if the optics are intimidating, your sight will suffocate your passion. He figures if they call you too small, you won't dream of something big. He figures if you're on the north side, you can't build it debt-free. He figures if you're black and female, you can't be the leader. He figures if you got a record, you can't live clean. He figures since folk got pictures that they can use the pictures to mute you. But just because you got evidence don't mean you got proof. You'll catch it on the way home. I need you to slap your neighbor high five and tell him you don't know who you're sitting next to. You notice I've been saying that all morning. Here's why. Because I got to get you to start thinking better than what you are. You can't think like an addict no more. You can't think like you're depressed anymore. You can't think like an abused woman anymore. You can't be a victim. You got to start walking in some truth. And the truth is that I am delivered from everything that's tried to kill me. And what he ain't delivered me from, he's given me the discipline for it to not destroy me. Okay, watch this. Danger, there's something amazing that happens in this text. David becomes proactive. He refuses to stand still like everybody else. He goes into the valley to fight. Which means sometimes you got to go down to win. He goes down because he refuses to stay. And he goes, watch this, he goes down forward into the unknown. Okay, watch this. Co-pastor. He goes down forward into the unknown. Everything is in opposite polarity of where we normally want to go. He goes down, not up. Forward, not back. Into the unknown, not something I'm certain of. The reason some of y'all don't ever move is you need to be promised up. Knowing. You need God to already tell you outcome before you know purpose. But I need you to tell your neighbor, down is temporary. Unknown is necessary. Because when I go down to go forward, because I don't know, I end up going up because what I now know is what I learned when I didn't know it. I need somebody to wake up in here and holler, I may not know everything, but I know enough to go forward. Okay. I love Wayne Gretzky, the famous hockey player who gave this amazing quote. And Tiffany, this quote is actually in my office, Stephanie Smith, at the school. Co-pastor bought this placard for me. It says, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Brother Perry, the thing that I've learned about life is that faith is fostered in action, not in just conversation. The essence of the evidence you have faith is not just what you say, but it's equally evident by what you do. It's the relocation into the place you do not have anything happening but a word. It's the building of a relationship with somebody who seems flawed, but God told you assignment. It's the launching of a ministry that does not seem to have anybody interested except for you. It's starting a business with no money, just a plan. And the people around you ain't even willing to give you money to help. It's dreaming of college and you didn't even do well in high school. It's believing you can get a PhD and you just got your GED. God is trying to wake you up to the fact that an undefeated giant is waiting on his first loss. He's only undefeated because he ain't met you. I need you to look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, Goliath been waiting on me to lose. So stop sitting there with a morbid face. In fact, if I was you listening to this sermon, I couldn't sit down because this thing is speaking to me. Because what I'm hearing God say to John Guns, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. And there ain't nothing that's going to happen this year that you ain't already ready for. So let me move quickly. What do you do then to be proactive? Well, David teaches us something. Here it is. Here's the first thing David teaches us. And this is going to go quick. Here's the first thing David teaches us. He teaches us that you got to accept the challenge despite the reasons not to. Well, you got to accept the challenge despite the reasons not to. Notice the challenges. Notice the reasons he shouldn't have accepted it. Watch this. Now listen, here's the reasons he shouldn't have accepted it, Ronnie. One, because of the size of the opposition. Verse 4, a man named Goliath from the city of Gath came out from the Philistine camp, challenged the Israelites. They intentional in giving his description of who he is. And it says he was 9 feet tall. That's not even conceivable. Wore bronze armor that weighed 125 pounds. The dude was so big and bad, he could weigh 125 pounds and move. Okay, no. I need y'all not to miss what I just said. Sap, stand up. How tall are you? 6'5". 6'5". Sap, go stand down there. Look, Kay, come here. Look, Kay. How tall are you? Okay. Sap, sit. Stand right there. Stand right there. Kay, come up here. Okay. Now, this is going to seem crazy. Can you get on his shoulders? Is that possible? Okay, go ahead and try to get on his shoulders. Daddy, come with Daddy. Y'all come help. So just in case. Okay, no, just get on his shoulders. Yeah, your hand got nothing to do with getting on the shoulders. Okay, y'all stay right here. This is Goliath. Okay, they can't see it. Can y'all walk him over here? Now, face the camera. This is Goliath. Kennedy, come here. Stand in front of them. This is David. Y'all welcome. You ain't never seen Goliath. He just in the book. This is Goliath. Look at what David is having to do. Tell your neighbor, I may look up for a season. Take her down. But when I walk in my purpose and I do what I'm supposed to do, lay down. By the time I get done with Goliath, what I was looking up to is going to be looking up. I need you to tell your neighbor, throw your shot, because Goliath can't win. Thank y'all. Thank you, Sap. You spent your whole life intimidated by his side and never by your anointing. Y'all be serious. Please tell your neighbor, say, neighbor, I may not be tall, but I ain't little. Thank you, Sap. Thank you, Kevin. You gotta, the reason why you ain't accept the challenge, because Trina, we give too much due to the size of the challenge. You don't even try to interview. You don't even try to go out for the part because you think other people got more talent than you. Tell her everybody that's on Broadway has probably been told no. And here's the thing I discovered. One yes will make you a millionaire after 20 no's made you broke. Oh, I need you to slap your neighbor, high five and tell him there's a yes hanging out there for you. You got to accept the challenge. Kurt Warner is now in the Hall of Fame. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. But he got cut by 4 teams. And by the time he caught on with a team, he was almost 30 years old. He was working at a store. Here's what's crazy. Favor's got a GPS system. It'll find you if you stay in the game. But here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. The other reason why most people don't accept the challenge, but David did, was the lack of external support and encouragement. Notice, I didn't say internal. Because, Sister Perry, here's what I discovered. Anybody who discourages me on the outside, Brittany, don't count as long as I don't let it get on the inside. If I keep your negative energy outside of me and I feed myself or I am fed by what strengthens me. You ready, Gina? Eventually, you will have to change your conversation because my actions won't give you any more evidence. I need some of you to understand. Just because the people in your initial space don't do your dream doesn't mean that your dream ain't God. Don't make false prophets accurate by your decision. Some of y'all have made folk right by your choices. They ain't right. You just agreed and they said, told you. They were never right. They just had a willing audience call you. You gave them evidence that you couldn't do it by not doing it. Told you couldn't go to school. But you always wanted to go to school. But I told you couldn't go to school. Told you couldn't start that business. But you already had a business in you. That's why sometimes you go to work. You ain't an employee. You bad at it. Because you're a better boss. But since they won't give you the office, go get your own. Y'all ain't gonna help me. Y'all ain't gonna help me. I need some of you to wake up and get this. You begging people for an opportunity when the opportunity is in your belly. And if you got the courage to go through a stress, a sacrificial season. Meaning, we go through sacrificial season, you can't take every trip. You can't buy everything you want to buy. You got to drive that hoopty. You got to live in that apartment. When everybody else hanging out, you got to tell them I got to go home. When everybody else partying, you got to tell them I can't party right now. Because if you do what you ought to do the way you ought to do it in your season, you'll buy the boat. Slap your neighbor high five and tell them I'm about to get all of this. Here's what's crazy. Jackie Robinson, one of the great sports figures of the 20th century, once said, life is not a spectator sport. If you're going to spend your whole life in the grandstand just watching what goes on, in my opinion, you're wasting your life. I love the story of Jesse Owens. I love the movie that they did because Jesse Owens was probably one of the most inspirational men or women to ever live out the journey of being an athlete. One of the greatest moments in sports history was when Jesse Owens, a black man representing a racist country, goes into Nazi Germany and wins 4 gold medals, making Hitler walk out. You know you're a bad somebody when you make the enemy leave you. I need you to be encouraged by the fact that the fight is in you. You just got to accept the challenge. But here's the other thing. You got to have the courage to take initiative. Verse 31. David heard the men talking, and David went to Saul and said, Your Majesty, I ain't afraid of him. I'll go fight. Here's what I want you to get. David steps into the moment and declares that he'll take ownership over everything that comes with the moment. Watch this. Deja, don't miss this. Watch this, Taylor. He takes ownership of everything that comes with the moment. Don't miss this. He takes ownership of everything that comes with the moment. Don't miss this. He takes ownership of everything that comes with the moment. All of the pain, all of the potential failure. Listen, you can't pick and choose what parts of the process you want. You want a degree, you got to also wrestle with the teachers you don't like. That comes with the process. If you want a healthy marriage, you got to also deal with conflict. That comes with the marriage. If you want to run a successful business, you got to also deal with people telling you they won't give you the money, with customers saying, I don't want your services. You got to be willing to accept everything that comes with it. As a pastor, I've had to accept the fact that there are people who've come, but there are people who've left. I've had to accept the fact that there are people who talked about me and people who commended me. I cannot pick and choose. I can't have all fans and not some enemies. I need to encourage you. You got to be willing to choose everything that comes with it, which means you got to be willing to make the changes in the process that requires you to mature, because while everybody else gets away with it, you out there with them doggone sheep and you practicing on lions and bears. I've had 2 good weeks at home. It's over. I got to go back to work. I got to go back to work. Got to go back to Richmond. Got to go back to Richmond. It's going to be in the 60s and the 70s here this week in Richmond on Wednesday. When I get on a plane at 6:15 a.m., it's going to be 17 degrees. It's going to be 17 Leroy degrees. It's going to be 17 cotton picking degrees. Some of y'all who've lived up north knows what I'm talking about. It's going to be 17 doggone degrees. Perry, 17 degrees. There have been times I have been here and it's been 60 and 20. Then there are times I've been there and it's been snowing. And one time it started snowing on Friday, and I was scheduled to leave Friday. So I'm walking all outside, slapping oil, saying, in the name of Jesus, dry up the snow, Lord. Because it comes with what I do. It comes with students that don't respect me. It comes with faculty that think they smarter than me. But here's what it can't take away. I am the dean. Y'all missed it. You got to walk in who you are, even if people don't walk with you. I need you to slap your neighbor high five and tell them everything that comes with it. But David was so confident. So David went to fight. Can I tell you why? Because he prepared. Let me help you. Those who are listening, let me help you. God does not want to prepare you under the lights. God wants to protect you by preparing you in the dark. Your ego has you desiring lights when darkness is the best way for you to learn. Y'all gonna get it. You want to be the leader of the organization and you ain't even a good follower. I tell people all the time, I'll take your opinions and your views, but I've been doing this 39 years. Co-pastor, I've been doing this 39 years. Just because I act like I don't know what I'm doing. Listen, Deja, please get this, Taylor. Your dad is 60 years old. I have had more success in a year than some people have had in 20. I really know what I'm doing. Just because I don't always get in your face about you don't mean I don't know what I'm doing. Here's what you better get. Some of y'all have been sleeping on folk. There's an 89-year-old woman that walked up here and took a class. That ought to make all y'all 20-something say, what's wrong with me? I got strength and she got sense. I tell my daughters all the time, one of the benefits you have is a mother that's been through hell. Okay, y'all miss your reason to shout. You got a mother that's been through hell. You got a mother who's learned how to deal with pain and not lose her mind. You got a mother that was willing to work 3 jobs to feed those babies. But here's what I discovered. If you do it right in your season, God will do you right in your promotion. Slap your neighbor high five and tell him you got to take initiative and all of it. Don't tell me you want to be happy, but you don't know how to be sad. Don't tell me you want a good relationship, but you say everything you feel. Here's what I learned. Good relationships are sometimes in the silence. I need you to understand sometimes you got to have a poker face. They got to hurt your feelings and you not even show it. Only a fool says everything. Even with your face. I mean, one time, hey, Taylor, one time my daddy's something else. My daddy is something else. Ooh, Elder Johnny, my daddy's something else. Frank Guns. I'm trying to get him here to preach in April for generational. So he'll be 98. And I'm trying to get him here. No, y'all pray. Because I'm trying to get, because I done invited him the last 4 years. And he said yes. And then about a month out, he'll call Deja. Yeah, he don't even call me. He'll call Deja. Deja is free. He'll call Deja and say, baby, I don't think I'm Daisy. And here's what's funny. He calls her Daisy, but when her name is translated, it's crazy. I was like, that old man got revelation. So and my dad, and I remember one time I was younger, and my dad said something to my mama, and my mama smiled, and I said, and she said, I'll be back, Frank. She watch this. She fixed his plate and went to the bedroom. I was young. I went and knocked on the door. I said, Mama, can I? She said, I'm praying right now. I said, but I want to get some. Give me a minute. I'm praying. And I was a little boy. Some said, just stand at the door. I stood at the door, and I heard my mama say, Lord, I want to kill him right now. So I need you to hold my tongue. But this was the part that didn't hit me till I got married. And I need you to fix my face. And what I discovered that I didn't know I was discovering is that the greatest victories ain't always how you handle people, it's how you won't let people handle you. Ooh, I need you to slap your neighbor, high five, and tell him you can't get away with everything. But I ain't giving you my joy in 25. I ain't getting mad at you in 25. I ain't cussing you out in 25. I'm going to look at you and smile because I got somebody fighting for me. You don't need to show them folk your face at that job. Go ask God to fix your face. John Maxwell said, I believe that everyone chooses how to approach life. If you're proactive, you'll focus on preparing. If you're reactive, you'll end up focusing on repairing. Either you can prepare or repair. In this season, guys, y'all gotta stop repairing. That was one of Sister Endora, one of the great prayers that I had, Sister Yolanda, to end this year. And that's why I shifted our theme from resetting, because at some point, MIT Kim, you got to stop resetting. You got to stop. I feel the Spirit shifting me. You got to stop resetting, Denise. You spend too much of your life resetting. Every year, you're resetting your finances, or you're resetting your relationships, or you're resetting your health, or you're resetting your mindset, or you're resetting your business. And all you do is reset. That's all you do. That's all you do is reset. You spend your whole life doing nothing but resetting. Okay, this year I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna get it together this year. Okay, this year I'm gonna change. Okay, this year I'm gonna get this. Or okay, this year, and before you know it, Jeremiah, you're too old to reset because you ain't got time for the reset to work. And my fear for some of you is that this is just another reset year. That's why I told you the first 30 days, if you listen to me, and if you do these 31 days, you're going to see measurable movement. One thing about working in the school is that I can't get away from data. I was on vacation and I had to work on the mid-year report. The mid-year report is grounded in data. I couldn't get away from the data. The data said whether I was hitting metrics. The data said whether the school was working. The data said whether I was a good leader. It was the data. It wasn't cotton that I wanted to speak to myself. At some point, your life got to have measurements. If you start the year with $10 in the bank and you end the year with $9, ain't a good year. I don't care if you went to the Bahamas. I don't care if your birthday party had 100 people and y'all balled out for 3 days. You ended the year with $1, yes. That ought to make you go, spent the whole year and you ain't read a book, but you've seen all of the series on Netflix. Not a good year. Child, I done seen Your Honor. I done seen Madness. Girl, I done seen everything. I even went and saw Musafa 12 times. But you ain't read a book. Man, let me finish this sermon. And you talking about, I had a great year. My birthday was amazing. We celebrated for 30 days. But you spent $10,000 and you in debt. What good is a celebration if it don't improve the quality of your overall life? At least Tanisha got enough sense to put a little band on, a little thing on and say, I ain't leaving church broke. If I came with $10, I'm at least leave with 17. Turn your birthday into a business opportunity. In fact, girl, because you were courageous enough to wear here. Happy birthday. You're welcome. Can I get a tax receipt for that though? That wasn't. Okay. I need to claim you for my taxes. That was a charitable donation. Let me close. Here's the last thing about being proactive. And you know, it's crazy. At the older I'm getting, I've tried to cut sermons and I just dig deeper and deeper and it get longer and I'm trying to do better. But I need to close with this. And here it is. Proactive people marry human effort with divine support. David declares to Goliath, you come to me with the sword, the spear, and the javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord. He is the God of the armies of Israel. He's the one who have dared to fight, who you dared to fight against. Then David gets real bold and said, all who gather here will know it's not by sword or spear that the Lord saves. For the battle is the Lord's. This year, everything you will attempt to do will be the Lord's. That's why I thought it was powerful that Sabrina would be so intentional to identify the fact, Sister Tucker, that everything that we do is because it has eternal purpose and significance to it. I'm blessed because we got back from our 2 days away, walked in the house, and I bumped into the most amazing thing, an excited young adult who has spent 3 days with God. That doggone Deja interrupted our entry into the house with, I've been talking to God. She said, and then she started throwing out all these ideas. She said, I heard you. I got goals, but now I got some strategies. And it was interesting to listen to my young adult, hungry for what the year was about to bring, because she knew that God had given her ideas, strategy, and will give her support. Let me push to close. You can never do anything great if you treat God like God is an add-on instead of the beginning of the idea. Don't cry out to God in the crisis and neglect him in the good days. Don't come to church when you're hurting, but then stay home when you're healthy. It's clear that David relied on God more than David relied on himself. You got to do the work of preparation. You got to grow. You got to study. You got to learn, but you got to pray. And so I closed this first Sunday by telling you that conventional weaponry is not why he won. He won because of his unwavering faith and belief in God. Please tell your neighbor, the battle is the Lord's. This victory resulted from the fact that he believed in the omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent God who defends and protects. That's why David, in the evening of his life, could write in Psalm 18, how I love you, Lord. You are my defender. The Lord is my protector. He is my strong fortress. My God is my protection, and with him I'm safe. He protects me like a shield. He defends me and keeps me safe. I call to the Lord, and he saves me from my enemies. That's why he could write in Psalm 144, praise the Lord, my protector. He trains me for battle. Oh my God, look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, the Lord gets me ready to win. He trains me for battle. He prepares me for war. He is my protector and my defender, my shelter and my savior, in whom I trust for safety. He subdues the nations under me. Here's the good news, that when the Lord is your light and your salvation, you fear nothing. It doesn't mean that you ain't gonna have challenges. It doesn't mean that things ain't gonna go perfect. But what it means is that God's got your back. Shake your neighbor's hand and say, God's got my back. And because God has my back, I will not flinch. This is the year that I go get it. This is the year that I don't stand there begging people for permission, but I'm taking the words of Jesus, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness, and everything that is good God's gonna give me. So if I aggressively pursue God and I prepare to do greater, God is going to give me what I need. According to 1 Corinthians 15:58, be ye steadfast. Shake your neighbor's hand and say, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, because I know that the Lord will give me victory. And so I leave you on the first Sunday to declare that this is a year of victory. Victories that lead to generational change. Victories that lead to open doors. Victory that leads to second chances. Victory that leads to new seasons. Victory that leads to permanent breakthroughs. Victory that leads to ending of old seasons. Victory that leads to healing and deliverance. Victory that leads to parting of Red Seas. Victory that leads to collapsing of Jericho walls. Victory that believes the occupation of Canaan. Victory that opened blinded eyes. Victory that unstopped deaf ears. Victory that gives new hope. Victory with fresh perspective. Victory with new resources. But the greatest victory is the victory of an empty tomb. Can I get anybody to throw your head back and holler, I'm going to get it? You can wait if you want. You can be cute if you want, but I'm a dance harder. I'm a shout harder. I'm a read harder. I'm going to confess harder. I'm a work harder. I'm a give harder. I'm a believe harder. I'm a trust harder, because I'm a living witness that God is able to bless you with whatever you desire. Is there anybody that can throw your head back and holler, he's able? Yes, he's able. He's able to keep you. He's able to hold you. He's able to sustain you. He's able to watch out for you. He's able to keep your mind. He's able to ensure that no weapon formed against you shall be able to prosper. Tell your neighbor, he's able. Ain't he able? Ain't he able? Is there anybody that knows he's able? Throw your hands in the air and say, God, I trust you. Yes! Everybody stand. This is the year you go get it. Hear me. I don't want this to be a perfunctory, feel-good sermon. Jennifer, I'm serious. This is the year this church becomes more assertive and more aggressive than it's been in my 29 years. I will not entertain half-hearted, half-committed deacons, unavailable elders and ministers, deaconess who want to sit on the seat when it's convenient, but not serve when it's necessary. I don't want any adjutants around me that ain't where I am. If I'm hungry, I need you starving. I don't want a wife or daughters or a son that ain't motivated to go be great. I told co-pastor we got to amp everything back up. I love her. She is my heart. But she's not co-pastor for a title position and a seat. I need a hungry partner. I don't want a staff that I got to beg you to want to be creative. No, that season's over. I ain't going to be 10 years building no building. Because if it takes 10 years, I won't be here. We got 3 years. Which means y'all got to give like you believe, not give like it's hard. I drop $40, $50 and that ain't even my tithe. I told God if I bring cash, I go home just releasing. Because I need money to meet the dreams of my children now. I need money to meet the dream of my daughter who's got this vision. I need money to meet the dreams of one of the most creative young dancers I've ever seen in my life, who, if she wants to go to New York and get on Broadway, but she goes through 2 years of rejection, but we can pay the apartment until she gets her yes. I want my church to be nothing but aggressive people. Yeah. And that ain't mean, and that ain't disrespectful. Don't tell me you want to help us, but you spend more time talking about us than giving to us. No. The Lord said something to me that was so powerful, and it hit me really hard, and then we'll pray. The Lord said to me, Sharon, the Lord said, son, please tell my people, stop giving their children their bad habits. You don't know how to talk to people, so that's the habit you give people. You give your children. Is your cynicism. You give them your cynicism. That's what you give them. So what they pick up is your bossy, cynicistic way. And now, but here's the problem. You learn how to manage it, they're going to be in a situation where they can't. We want to give these girls the best of us, not the stuff they're going to have to unlearn. How much of your life got stuck because the people who raised you taught you how to passively manage life instead of aggressively pursuing dreams? Nobody ever told you you could. They just told you get a job. They didn't tell you go own a business. They didn't tell you go own a business. They didn't tell you that you could be the leader. They didn't tell you that you could be the black woman who breaks into an industry that you only see white men. They didn't tell you that a Grammy award-winning artist is in you. They didn't tell you that you will be the face on the placard and not the name buried in the program. They didn't tell you you could be the CEO. They didn't tell you you could be the superintendent. They didn't tell you that you could